Alright, good evening everyone. This is Senior Forecaster Cameron back here again, and I'm here to go over the latest trends on the potential of winter weather as we get towards Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning here, guys. And Derek's been talking about it over the last couple of days or so on the 7-day forecast that we could be potentially looking at the potential of a little bit of winter weather across northern Arkansas. We were looking at this. I was looking at this morning, and it appeared that central Arkansas had a shot of seeing it, but what I'm seeing with the latest trends is a more of a northerly trend versus a south trend, which would push more of the winter weather across far northern Arkansas, and then just mostly a cold rain for the entire state. So I'm going to be breaking down the latest guidance and going over the possibilities with you guys. So we're going to start off with the 0Z NAM. All right, and here's what the NAM model wants to do here, guys. So here we are, late Monday night to early Tuesday morning here, and we'll go ahead and draw this out for you guys. Alright, so there's your low pressure here. Alright, and with your colder air filtering in behind it, you've got snow, sleet, a little bit of freezing rain here. But pay attention to the 540 line and even the 546 line as it will pertain to who sees what. And we talked about this with the last event, that the 546 line plays a very crucial role on who sees what. And we saw that with the last event, that the 546 line was in far southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana, and from the El Dorado area to Little Rock to Melbourne, got sleet, got freezing rain. Even if it was just for a brief period, they still got sleet, they still got freezing rain. There was snow reports. So, as I said before, that 546 line needs to be watched very, very carefully here, because even with temperatures marginally supporting the potential winter weather, that 546 line is south of you. You at least stand the potential of a little bit of a mix here, guys. So there's the 0Z NAM here, and what the NAM model wants to do, alright, so low pressures along the Red River Valley, alright, you've got colder air, you got moisture running in, and moisture overrunning that colder air. Excuse me, that's what I was trying to say. That moisture is overrunning that colder air, and that's where you're getting your winter precipitation coming into Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle, and into southern Kansas here, guys. So here's what the NAM model wants to do, and this is why we won't see winter weather if the this current run of the NAM were to verify. Okay, it takes the low from here to here to here. Okay, and it rides it all the way through from northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas. That is the worst track to get winter weather here in the natural state. You need this track going somewhere like right here to here to here to here and to here. Okay, you need this thing to ride along the Gulf Coast, because moisture gets thrown over that colder air, and that's where you get the potential winter weather. If you get the first track, you're going to get warmer air filtering into the natural state, and then that warmer air is going to meet that colder air across Missouri, Kansas, and Oklahoma, and this is where you're going to get the potential of winter weather here, guys. So if you go with the latest NAM, not much hope unless you live in far northern Arkansas here. Even with the 546 line being south of the state, the low pressure is in central Louisiana. So here's what happens with the low, and this leads to me to think that the guidance does not have a good handle on this track of the low pressure right now, because what the NAM does, alright, second back here, Texas Panhandle along the Red River Valley into northeast Texas, and then just shifts it southward into Louisiana. I mean, just a complete jump to Louisiana here, guys. So with that being said, it will bring the winter weather into far northern Arkansas. Alright, and even for our folks in central Arkansas, there could be a brief changeover before it completely comes to an end, and there could be some lingering snow later on. And then my attention turns to late in the week into early part of next weekend. I'm going to go over that in just a little bit with you guys here, guys, because if you get a snowpack to develop across Missouri, Kansas, northern Arkansas, and Oklahoma, it could be very interesting come late next week here, guys. But that's it for. I'm going in here in just a little bit. So there's the NAM. Here's the high-res NAM. Now, the high-res NAM is even further north than the 12 km, because the high-res NAM wants to do something like this. It develops it, but this is something you're going to have to keep a very, very close eye on here, because what the high-res NAM does, it weakens the first low, alright, and it develops a secondary low. Now, this is where Wednesday could be very, very interesting for us in our natural state. It develops a secondary low along the Gulf Coast. That is a very, very crucial track to get winter weather here in the natural state. it still favors from the Little Rock area, Mena, up to Fayetteville, over to Piggott, down to, I say near Memphis. This is the area that I would keep a very close eye on for the potential winter weather if you were to go with this particular track. But one thing that concerns me is that southeast ridge. If it turns this thing off towards the northeast, and that's a weird error, I know, but if this thing turns off towards the northeast, you could get a very wrap-around moisture on the backside of this, and that would bring snow to the natural state. If that particular scenario were to happen. If the low pressure develops, all right, and it continues on this eastward track, your highest chance of seeing winter weather is going to be north and portions of central Arkansas, southern Arkansas just getting plain rain. Even with your 546 line being south of the state, the one thing I talked to you guys about is, and I've got a lot of questions about this, what does the 546 line mean? It's basically just telling me how the aloft temperatures are. And normally when you're between the 546 line and the 540 line, that's where you have the potential of seeing at least rain, snow, basically a mid to winter precipitation if your surface temperatures allow for it. You could have temperatures 40, 41 degrees, 546 line is south of you, and you still wouldn't get winter precip because your surface temperatures are too warm. And that's what's the case with this, is a lack of cold air once again, sticking it to us here in the natural state here, guys. And that's just been the case all winter long, is that no snowpack in the Ohio Valley, which if this system were to verify, we could get a developing snowpack across the Ohio Valley, so that would help us out in the long range. But that's just been the case here this winter, is that we've had moisture, didn't have cold air. We've had the cold air, no moisture. We've had both. The system ended up going further north than expected, or going further south, completely just cut it off, or storms along the Gulf Coast. It's always been something that's cut us off from seeing a big-time winter storm. And the last event we just got through dealing with could have been our winter storm of the year if we would have had cold air staying instead of retreating. So that's something that we're hoping to break as we get towards the month of February here, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and take you guys over to the GFS. Now, this is why I'm saying keep a very close eye on late next week, because there's your first low. All right, gets it out of here. Now, what the GFS wants to do, please keep this in mind, that this is the GFS. Heavily cold bias. I like looking at GFS, but I don't take it to heart. So just keep this in mind with the GFS. And what the GFS wants to do, okay, in this particular scenario, if it were to play out, we would have to keep a very close eye on it. But what the GFS does, it develops a very, very weak area of low pressure along the northern Gulf of Mexico. Okay, you're not going to be able to see it too much on here, but just giving off the millibars and looking at the 500 millibar vorticity, wants to develop a little low pressure across the northern Gulf. Very, very weak in nature, very broad, but it wants to try to attempt to develop it. If that were to be the case, you would get moisture overrunning a snowpack that would probably develop somewhat like this if that current track were to verify with this. And with that being said, with the 540 line being south of the state, you could look at the potential of some light winter precipitation here, guys. So that's something we're going to keep a very, very close eye on here as we get towards the later part of this upcoming week here. But that's just the GFS, and I'm going to go ahead and take you guys out. And it keeps that cold air around. I'm going to go ahead and take you guys out 240 hours out here. And beyond that, beyond that little system, dry. The pattern becomes very, very zonal. And you just don't get any kind of systems to take advantage. Like, you may actually go an entire almost 2 weeks without seeing any kind of weather here in the natural state. So just going at the GFS, and you know it's bad when you are at 336 hours out with the GFS and there's no winter storm. There's no winter storm. There's no hyped up winter storm or anything like that beyond 240 hours out. So what the GFS is indicating is that there's going to be a break period between late this week carrying into the beginning of February here, guys. So we could be going into a drier pattern, which is good news. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be complaining about sunshine, given that we've been seeing cold rain after cold rain after cold rain after cold rain. But I know for you winter weather lovers out there, I know you guys wanting to get some snow and time is starting to run out. But hey, I've seen some stranger things happen in March and April. Hey, looking at some long-range guidance, we could have the potential as we get towards February and the early March here before we potentially get started with spring here, guys. So, but as we said before, we could have a break period as we get towards the later part of this week and into the early part of February here, guys. So I want to jump over to the euro here. All right. And the one good thing I want to note from Pivotal Weather, you guys, if you guys can support these guys, donate, even if it's $1, donate to these guys, because they are giving us computer model guidance for free that you normally would have to pay for with this, and that's saving a lot of meteorologists from going in their pocket from bringing you guys this data here, guys. So just search up pivotalweather.com. There's going to be a tab at the very top. Just even if it's $1, just support them here, guys, because they're doing a very, very great job in providing this data here, guys. And they don't have to do this. I mean, they don't have to provide it for free. They could, charge for this kind of data, but like I said before, if you can, give them some donations here, guys. I even made a donation to them because, like I said before, you can't get the euro, you can't get UK Met or anything for free. So these guys are doing an excellent job at Pivotal Weather here. But I'm going to jump over to the euro here. And what the euro does, all right, and this tells me right here that the euro does not have a good handle on this low. And I think what's going to end up happening once the low develops tomorrow, we should have a good handle on what's going to happen as we get towards late Tuesday and early Wednesday morning here, guys. So once we start getting that real-time data in, cough, cough, HR, cough, cough, we should have a better handle on the situation here, guys. So I'm going to take you guys out just a little bit. And what the euro does, it kind of goes all over the place with that low. Has along the Red River Valley, similar to the NAM, and then it just dives it south into East Texas and into deep South Louisiana here, guys. And with the euro, in this particular track, this track right here would bring the snow line normally down into the natural state if you had cold air in place. Given it's a 1,005 millibar low, I like the euro, but I'm going to have to disagree with the euro for just a little bit because with a pretty decent strength, low pressure near the New Orleans area, you would have moisture overriding, you have cold air filtering in, and that's what normally bring the potential winter weather in the natural state late Tuesday night and Wednesday morning if you were to go with the European model. So I'm going to have to keep a very close eye on that. Like I said before, once we get some real-time data in, we should be able to have a better handle on what's going to happen. So just stay tuned with us. But I'm going to go ahead and take you guys out the late week here. And this is the euro, by the way. Euro wants to do the exact same thing, just further south. So we're going to log this in the back of our heads, okay, guys? We're going to keep an eye on late week into the early part of the weekend here, guys, because guidance, both the GFS and Euro, are indicating some type of low pressure along the Gulf. If it's further north, with colder in place, you could look at the potential of additional winter weather. If it stays this far south and it's compressed, then that's where you're not going to have the potential winter weather here. And I'm going to zoom out with the euro, so just bear with me for just a second here, guys. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, because what the euro does as we get towards the later part of this weekend, the early part of next weekend, is it develops a high pressure across the central half of the country here, and it just kind of suppresses that it suppresses that low pressure. There's your low down here along the northern Gulf, but it's just too far south to provide any kind of moisture for us in the natural state. And then, guys, I'm going to take you out 240 hours out here. The Euro's got a system, but other than that, just quiet. But we'll keep an eye on the early part of February. GFS is saying it's going to stay quiet. Euro may be hinting at something here, guys, because I'm going to show you something. 240 hours out, take it with a grain of salt, by the way. What the Euro may be trying to hint at is the return of winter. And you could pay a pretty decent price to get winter back here in the natural state, especially with temperatures starting to warm up. So the Euro does, it basically cuts off the southern half of the country. There's your southeast ridge, your Arctic high starting to flow down, and this is where your storm track would lie across the northern Gulf. And by the way, for those who are wondering, this is why we're very, very concerned about spring. And it's one of the reasons why we haven't got a pretty decent winter here in the natural state. This is the Euro, by the way. Get a load of the Gulf of Mexico's temperatures, almost 80 degrees, and you're in early February. And this is just going on for 10 days from now. But I'm going to go ahead and show you just real-time data at 0 hours. Okay, there's your Gulf. All right, 74, 75 degrees. So the Gulf of Mexico remained very, very warm to keep winter weather. One of the reasons why it kept winter weather away and natural state for the majority of winter. But we still got a long ways to go. But that's why I'm very concerned about this upcoming spring, because you already got a warm Gulf of Mexico in place, and you get that cold air to break away any given moment. That's where big trouble could lie. But we will have your spring outlook announced. I think we'll have a date announced as we get towards probably early next week here. But there's the European model here, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the HRR. I had an HRR popped up. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that real fast. The 0Z HRR, and the 0Z HRR is starting to get a little handle on the system here. So just bear with me for just a second here, guys. Alright, and there's a system here. If you go with the HRR, develops it late tomorrow night or early Tuesday morning here. Alright, so there's a shield of rain, 1010 millibar low pressure, colder air filtering in, and it's one thing I want to note is a little further south with that precipitation than the NAM and everybody else. So we're going to keep a very close eye on the HRR. But that's all I got for you guys tonight. I will have another blog as we get towards tomorrow evening, and to go over this potential system as we get more guidance in as over the next 6 to 12 hours here, guys. So thank you guys for tuning in to this video blog tonight, and y'all have a great rest of your Sunday evening.